Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, where we talk all things travel and all things transformation, exploring the life-changing potential of solo travel, intentional travel, and location-independent working. Whether you're an aspiring digital nomad or simply wish to boost your confidence through epic travel experiences, I'm here to motivate and inspire you to go after all your wildest dreams. I'm Jessica Grace Coleman, author, certified travel coach, founder of the Travel Transformation Company, and your host for the Travel Transformation Podcast. Travel changed my life. Now let's change yours. You ready? Let's go. Welcome to the Travel Transformation Podcast, the podcast where we talk all things travel and all things transformation. I'm your host, Jessica Grace Coleman, but you can call me Jess. And today is just going to be a quick solo episode, a quickie, with the title, How Emily Dickinson Gave Me a Kick Up the Arse. And that just makes me think of the Father Ted episode where he has to give Bishop Brennan a kick up the arse. But anyway, if you're American listening to this, I believe the equivalent phrase would be a kick in the butt or a kick in the pants, possibly. But yeah, give me a kick up the arse. So if you don't know what that means, if you're not English or if I butchered that phrase, then it means if you're feeling lazy or whatever, someone comes along, gives you a kick up the ass or arse, and you get to work. You start feeling sorry for yourself. You get up off your arse and go and do the thing. Okay, so it's not Emily Dickinson herself. I've never met her, obviously. I have read a lot of her poetry since watching this TV show, which is what I'm talking about when I mean she gave me a kick up the arse. So the TV show is called Dickinson. It's on Apple TV. It has Haley Steinfeld playing Emily Dickinson. 3 seasons. I think it was, a couple of years ago, so it's pretty recent. And I binged watched all 3 seasons over the past few weeks. And I loved it. So the premise is, it's kind of the story of Emily Dickinson. A lot of, truth is in it. I Googled it after I watched it, and a lot of it was true. A lot of it wasn't true. She has a lot of hallucinations and stuff in the show to make it more entertaining. But it's basically set when Emily was a young woman. So in the 1800s in Amherst in Massachusetts in New England. And you can bet I'm going to go visit there next time I go to New England. Because if you've listened to this podcast at all, you'll know that I love anything to do with, books, writers. I visited Mark Twain's house last time I was in the States, and also Stephen King's house, also Edgar Allan Poe's grave, Washington Irving's grave. It's a thing I have with writers. So I really want to go and visit Amherst now. I think her house is now a museum, so that's pretty cool. But they rebuilt the house and area for the show, so it's all very cool. It's obviously got all the ye olde dress and style and everything like that. But they kind of speak in modern lingo and, swear and stuff. And there'll be a dance doing traditional dances, and then they'll all start twerking and things like that. Talking about gaslighting and catfishing and all the things that weren't around in the 1800s, but I really liked it. And you may be thinking, why am I talking about this? Because it's a travel podcast, but it's also a transformation podcast. So I want that to incorporate all kinds of mindset things, self-development things, personal growth things. And like I say, watching this TV show and consequently reading her poems, I got a really cute little book of poetry off Amazon, Emily Dickinson Poems. It's a very beautiful, pretty book. Sadly, some of the things aren't quite right. I'm not sure about all of them, but one of them I definitely looked up because I was like, this isn't right. In one poem, there's meant to be the word cleaving, and they've printed it as cleavage. So yeah. If there's a poem I really like, then I go and check online to make sure all the words are right. But watching this TV show, and it doesn't have to be just this TV show, there's obviously a lot of things. You could watch period dramas, stuff in the past, and it doesn't even have to be that far in the past. But basically, one of the things is that Emily Dickinson wasn't really famous in her time, like a lot of artists aren't. It's only after their death that their work is seen as worthwhile or that it's worth any money, that kind of thing. And during her lifetime, Emily Dickinson didn't publish that many poems. She wrote thousands of poems. I think she published 10, and some of them were her friends sending them into newspapers and things like that. And in the series, to start with, it's because she's a girl and her father doesn't want her to publish because she's a woman. And then it turns into her having self-doubt and not knowing if she wants fame. There's a lot of reasons why she doesn't publish her poems when she gets the chance, and I'm not sure how true all that is in real life, the real life story of Emily Dickinson. But obviously it's set in the 1800s, and a lot of it is around Emily Dickinson doesn't want to get married. And she also has a sister, Lavinia, who does want to get married to start with, but the more she hangs out with Emily, the more she becomes independent and things like that. And she, neither of them ended up getting married. There's also a possible story that Emily was in love with her brother's wife. But anyway, there's a lot of themes in there about, women. There's a whole thing in the Dickinson TV show where the dad is writing his will and he's fallen out with his son, Austin, Emily's brother. And he asks Emily to be executor. She's good at writing. And she writes out his will for him. And then it gets to the end and he's like, and I will leave all my house, all my money, everything else to Austin. And she's like, what? You guys aren't even speaking right now. And we got really close. And he's like, yeah, but that's just the way things are. It would be ridiculous in society if people knew I left all my stuff to a woman. And it's just stuff like that it really makes you think. This was the 1800s, but, not too long ago, women couldn't vote. Women couldn't own property. They couldn't work, couldn't own their own businesses. And just watching a TV show where the main character is a woman and she can't just go out and get a job and provide for herself. She can't just move out and live on her own because that isn't unheard of. She is the property of her father until she becomes married, in which case she's then the property of her husband. If she never gets married, then, like the will stated in that episode, she becomes the property of her brother. And then if he died, he had a little infant son at that time, then she would become the property of that infant son. And it just makes you think. And all she wanted to do was write. Everyone stopped her from publishing because she was a woman. And, they didn't have any rights. They couldn't vote. They were essentially trapped. She didn't travel much. And if she did, then, it was with a male chaperone, I guess. When you binge watch something like this, 3 seasons, and the men are doing whatever the hell they want, and the women are just stuck there, it gets you thinking. But also, in the time period, it gets you thinking. So Emily was writing all these little poems on scraps of paper and keeping them in her desk drawer and, writing on little bits of envelope and stuff like that. And hardly anyone got to read her poems while she was alive.
I just want to interrupt this awesome podcast episode for a moment to tell you about Write Your Life, the ultimate life hack for achieving your dreams by Jessica Grace Coleman, a book that teaches you how to design your dream life and then go live it. Life is what you make it. Life is what you write it to be. And you can write whatever you want. Let me show you how. The Write Your Life method gives you all the tools and techniques you need to identify your ambitions, plan your goals, and ultimately achieve all your wildest dreams, all while having fun and getting creative. And you don't need to be a writer to benefit from the Write Your Life method. This book can help anyone, anywhere design their ultimate dream lifestyle. Get it now from Amazon or head to www.traveltransformationcoach.com/books. You'll also get a digital copy completely free when you sign up to the Flip the Script Academy at traveltransformationcoach.com/academy, where we teach you that life is short. So let's make sure it's nothing short of amazing. And now let's get back to the Travel Transformation Podcast.
And you just think if she was alive today, in these days, the modern era, with the internet, with self-publishing, with social media, with YouTube, all that stuff, she could just have gone online, read out her poems, and it could have spread around the internet in a day. You wouldn't have to get anyone's permission. It wouldn't be this huge deal. She could just go online. She could write and publish her own books, and she could start her own business. She could do a coaching business. She could coach other poets. She could have workshops and webinars and live events and read her poetry out to roomfuls of people or virtual rooms full of people on Zoom. She could travel around the world speaking her words to people who love them. She could teach other people how to write like she did. She could do so many things, and she was never able to do that. She didn't have that chance, just like, everyone in the past didn't have that chance. But someone as talented as Emily Dickinson, if you think what she could have achieved with today's technology, it's kind of crazy. And it gave me a kick up the arse because I am a woman. I'm not expected to just stay at home, cook, clean. That was another theme in the show. Being a housewife, and your only, talents you're allowed to have are cooking and cleaning and getting dinner on the table for your husband and stuff like that. And, some people still love to do that. That's fine. But that's literally all you could do. And thinking about all the opportunities we have now, not just women, everyone, but in particular women, like the fact that I can just go and travel on my own. I can start my own business. I can publish a book whenever I want. I can go online. I can go on Instagram Live and have people watching me from all over the world. You can communicate with people all over the world with an email, with a text, with a voice note. You can FaceTime them. You can do Zooms. You can literally start selling things online with pretty much no barrier to entry. Like, as long as you have an internet connection, you don't even need a laptop. As long as you have a phone with an internet connection, you could start your own business. And the fact that is that easy, and I know it's not easy, it's hard, but to start things is very easy in this day and age. And I think if we think about our ancestors, if we think about people in the past, I think about this a lot, what they would say if they knew all the opportunities available to us, and women in particular, right now, it would blow their minds. They would not be able to believe it, and they would be so disappointed if you had this amazing idea, or you wanted to start this business, or you wanted to write a book, or you wanted to start a YouTube channel, or whatever it is, and you didn't do it. Why the hell wouldn't you do it? You've got all these opportunities at your fingertips. There's no barriers to entry. There's no men saying you can't do it. We still have societal expectations and things, but in the UK, where I am, it's not a big deal if you want to start your own business, or if you want to write a book or start a podcast. You can do it. There's no one saying you can't. And the fact that we've got all this stuff at our fingertips, and so many people have big dreams and big goals with businesses, podcasts, books, whatever, and they don't do it, I think is a travesty. Because if Emily Dickinson were to come here right now, look at me, a modern day writer. I mean, I do lots of things, but I write, essentially. And she saw me not going after my dreams when it is so easy these days, relatively speaking. I think she would give me a kick up the arse, and rightfully so. So all this to say, I encourage you to go watch Dickinson if you haven't watched it already, if that's your kind of thing. It is very funny. It was also quite thought-provoking, as you can see from this episode. The later series, it goes into the Civil War and her correspondence with a colonel and all that stuff, and it is really interesting. And a lot of it, like I say, is true. So as a historical kind of show, it's pretty cool. And the fact that they've modernized it as well is very fun. But yeah, it made me think I should be doing more. I should be putting myself out there more. I should stop using these excuses, because I have it so good now compared to people, and women in particular, in the past. And if they could see me now, they would give me a kick up the arse, and I would thank them for it. So I just wanted to say that. A very, very random quickie, but it's just something that was on my mind, and I had to get it off my chest. And a podcast is a great way of doing that. So please let me know what you think about this episode. I had absolutely no notes. I didn't plan to record it. I just sat down and was like, you know what, I'm going to do one called How Emily Dickinson Gave Me a Kick Up the Arse. See how it gets received. So let me know. As always, you can email me at info@traveltransformationcoach.com. You can DM me at Instagram at traveltransformationcoach. You can check out my books and my podcast and my online academy, my courses, all that good stuff at traveltransformationcoach.com. Thank you for listening, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side. Thank you for listening to the Travel Transformation Podcast with me, Jessica Grace Coleman. If you enjoyed this episode, I would really appreciate it if you could please subscribe, rate and review, and spread the word, because it's my mission to help as many people as possible to flip the script on their lives and transform through travel. And remember, life is short, so let's make sure it's nothing short of amazing. Until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.